Hello, this is Keenan, a Street Cred Sports trainer, not intended for underage viewers. Hello, this is Keenan, a Street Cred Sports training, and welcome to another episode of Time to Ball. This is episode 7, moving right along. So, I'm going to start off by talking about your reputation. If you have a good reputation, you're going to be given the benefit of the doubt for things. But if you have a questionable reputation, you have to accept those things. Now, what am I talking about? I'm talking about Grayson Allen. He's with the Milwaukee Bucks. He played at Duke. I think he was drafted by Memphis, and then he was drafted by Utah. Then he went to Memphis, and then from Memphis he's with the Milwaukee Bucks. So, it's not as important at the fact that, he's been on 3 teams. It wasn't like he was like nobody wanted him. It was just the way they traded and they got stuff. He's a good player. I like the way he plays when it comes to some things. Other things I don't like. And this is where his reputation comes into play. He has history of, going back to college with Duke with some very questionable fouls. Could be considered flagrant, dirty fouls. He's been labeled a dirty player. Well, other night, Milwaukee plays the Mavericks, and I think it was Christian Woods grabs a rebound and was outletting it. And as he's outletting it maybe to Tim Hardaway Jr. I think that was who his initial pass was. And then Luka Doncic, I hope I'm not messing. Sorry, Luka, if I'm messing your name up, man. I need to take some pronunciation classes for your name. But Luka makes a beeline towards the ball to, grab the rebound and then, grab the pass rather and then push it up court. Well, Grayson Allen is on the opposite side. He's actually closer to the pass. He runs to jump and receive the pass to steal it. He jumps in the air. He has his left hand on the ball. Luka runs into him. They collide. Okay, they collide. Luka falls, grabs his head, and they hit Grayson Allen with a regular foul. Then they look at it and they upgrade it to a flagrant 1. This is our reputation, folks. Because that was not, if anything, it should have been a foul on Luka. Because Grayson has the ball in his hands. It's clear he's going for the ball. When you watch it in slow motion, his eyes are up on the ball and he's grabbing it he's catching it with his left hand and he's getting ready to secure the ball. Luka doesn't have a chance, to get the ball, and as he's getting ready to collide, he doesn't even have his hands up in the air to receive the ball. It's more like, oh shit, we're about to collide, and he kind of protects himself, right? This is all on reputation. He's upset, the coach is going crazy. They hear him, but they don't hear him. That's because of reputation. If his reputation was not that of somebody who was considered a dirty player, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt with that call. Now, what is a dirty player? Dirty players, to me, and to other people, because, I hear the same terminology. Dirty players in sports are players who do things intentionally to hurt someone. It's sort of a unwritten code in sports that it's a fellowship. What it takes to get to that level, be it high school, be it college, be it pros. You know what it takes. You know how hard each other work to attain that status. So you don't try to hurt each other because, number one, you're messing with, people's livelihoods. Now, obviously you get people who get into it, and there's I usually don't like to use the word hatred, but there's hatred with certain players. There's certain players that they see each other on the street and they trying to fight. If they have to go into the church together on that Sunday, they probably gonna fight in church. After they give an offering or tithes or whatever it is, there's gonna be some punches thrown. maybe even at a funeral. If that player died and that player's having a memorial service, that player's gonna probably come up there and try to punch him in the casket. So you got players that can be like that, man. But in this case, with this guy, he has a reputation of being dirty. He's been seen as clipping players, sticking his feet out and clipping players. Okay, so what constitutes a dirty foul? Obviously, it's something that's meant to hurt. If you throw an elbow in basketball, you throw an elbow to a player's head or face area, you could cause a lot of damage. Okay. Pushing somebody while in the air to let them land awkward, taking their legs out from under them, that's dirty. Setting a screen to where you're almost using more shoulder than regular part, and you're pushing it into a smaller guards, smaller players, head. Now, look, full disclosure, I don't know if many people know this, but I sustained an injury to my teeth. My front tooth is crooked, the top and the bottom. This was from a screen when I was at UTEP. Still remember the guy. I'm not going to say his name. And I don't think he did it it wasn't a dirty play. I don't think he set the screen on me when we were, scrimmaging and stuff. But he caught me. He's 6'8", right? So I'm 5'6". So as I'm going through the screen, as I'm going through it, I think it's his elbow or his elbow, hip, or shoulder or something like that. But I get hit. And, my teeth have bared the scars of it from ever since then. Now, that wasn't dirty, but he said some things afterwards that made me wonder if it was dirty, So you have that there. So you can have certain types of screens where you set screens knowing that you can possibly injure or hurt this person. Stepping on a person's foot intentionally or kicking that person. Now, if you go into baseball, it's usually simple. Those pitchers bean those batters with those balls, man, and I know that shit hurts. I know it hurts. You talking about 95-mile-per-hour ball and it hitting you on the thigh, on the back, or on the shoulder. So those kind of things hurt. So that's pretty much with baseball. Football, you have those late hits, where you have those face masks where you push the face and intentionally, or you grab his face mask and you sling the person out of bounds, or when somebody's when they're running and they're clearly out of bounds and you go lunge into that person and knock that person down. Head hunting, as they used to call it. Somebody coming across the middle, they receive a pass. You can tackle that person, but you decide to go high with your shoulder, and hit that person in the head, and it can severely, hurt someone. So dirty plays and dirty players, they do exist. And Grayson Allen has told that line so much that anytime he actually gets a regular foul, it's blown up. Oh, wait a minute, hold on now. Oh, let's see what he did. He was looking at him he's looking at him because he sees him coming, right? So it's kind of a bigger thing with him. I think his most famous flagrant foul was against Alex Caruso, where Alex Caruso is with the Bulls, and Caruso was out for a long period of time with an injury based on that foul. That right there, it was kind of, some of those flagrant fouls or some of those dirty plays, they're kind of in a gray area. It's like they're almost like, yeah, that's possibly, but it's not definitive. That foul on Alex Caruso, that was no gray area. That you knew once you saw that foul. Oh yeah, he meant to hurt that guy. So his reputation precedes him, and that's why he got it. But on that sense, I always try to be objective and say, look, when it happens, you got to call it out and say it happens. When it doesn't, you have to do the same thing. That wasn't a flagrant. That wasn't even a foul on him. It should have been a foul on Luka or no call. Sometimes no call, you can have a no call. Referees don't have to make not a phone call. Referees don't have to make calls just because there is a collision. Nobody. The purpose for calling a foul is that the person who commits the foul has gained an advantage, whether offensively or defensively. They've gained an advantage. That wasn't really an advantage because they met in the air. It wasn't like Grayson Allen jumped straight up and Luka ran all the way over there into him in the air, or vice versa. They both went to the ball. Grayson was closer, so Grayson was there slightly ahead. Luka made contact. So now, what do I teach my kids? Because this kind of throws into it. I teach my kids to be physical. Now, physical is different than dirty. I don't teach my kids to throw elbows, kick, punch, that kind of stuff. And I tell them, hey, this is physical. Physical to me is just being strong, holding them off. Setting the pick strong, meaning you're holding your ground and or what have you. If somebody's, on you and you need to get them off of you, you can hold them off physically with strength. You don't push them, you just hold them off. If they try to move you, you're physical, you're strong with them. So I have to tell them, look, I'm teaching you how to be physical. This doesn't mean punch them in the face or kick them, because I don't want you to be getting interviewed and say, yeah, I learned this at Street Cred Sports Training. And now they're coming, camera crews are showing up at my place and I'm trying to go inside and they're like, Mr. Cage, you got any comment on this fragrant play? I was like, oh, well, what are you talking about? So no, I don't want anything like that. I don't play like that. I've always played, to be physical and aggressive, but hurting people is not in my nature. I've been hurt. I've had people do some questionable, dirty things to me, and I didn't retaliate with a dirty or physical play. I just decided to, okay, all right, that's how we playing. I'm good. It's not like it's something I've never experienced. So I feel bad for Grayson simply because he's going to continue to get those type of calls based on his past reputation. And, it's nothing he can really do. It's going to be it's going to be labeled anytime he commits any type of foul that seems a little bit out of the realm. And this one wasn't that. So, but yeah, that was something where I watched it happen live and I just said to myself, yeah, that's his reputation. That is his reputation. So, I feel bad for the guy. Hopefully, maybe he can go save a cat or a dog in a tree or in a fire or something. And when that happens, he'll be front page. Grayson Allen saves 5 cats and a dog in a tree. Why you got 5 cats and a dog in a tree? I don't know, but maybe they just happen to be. Maybe the cats were running away from the dog and the dog tried to get in the tree and he saved them, or Grayson Allen helps an old lady, who was trying to cross the street, or something like that. He sets a screen on a pickup truck coming to make sure the lady crosses the street, and they have that all like on video, and he's smiling as he's doing it. And they're like, oh man, Grayson Allen is really a nice dude, man. He's not the person that we thought he was. Maybe he needs to do that just so if he fouls somebody, it's just going to be a regular foul. He has to do all of that. Grayson Allen saves a pilot on an airplane and saves over 368 passengers by jumping in and helping landing the plane using his basketball skills, and he's smiling the whole time. And he has that smirk, the little smirk that he has. So he's doing all of this stuff. And they're like, Grayson, you're such a hero. Why are you doing this? Man, I'm just trying not to get called for flagrant fouls anymore. That's all I'm trying to do. But whatever you have to do, Grayson, you need to do it, man. You need to change your image, get you a publicist or something. I'm telling you, saving animals, boy, you can rule the world. You save animals. People love animals. People hate people who do bad things to animals. So you save some animals, yeah. That's going to put you at the top. Yo, I like to give a shout out to my sponsors. Next Style Designs. Next Style Designs makes quality shirts or custom apparel for all occasions. Next Style Designs. Mind Inc. Mind Inc. offers a wide array of digital media. Mind Inc. asks, are you using your mind? Southwest Basketball Showcase Recruiting Service. The link between your coach and your dreams. Maracay Zero Down Solar. Call Greg Suber for your solar needs. PCS Plus is the carpet service for all your cleaning needs. Okay, all right, so now I'm finna jump into my basketball training ideology. So, have two things I want to mention. My question is, are film study sessions with kids part of your city, travel, middle school, or high school program? Are they? That's a question that you have to have if asked if you're a city league, coach or travel team coach, like an AAU exposure travel team coach, middle school coach, or high school coach. Are you using any type of film study? I mean, we say we're trying to prepare our kids, to be ready for college. And once these kids go to college, they're going to be doing film study. I do film study with kids sometimes, and I'm able to show those kids things that they're not even paying attention to. Of course, they don't, because most kids don't have that eye, and they don't have people. Unfortunately, they don't have people around them sometimes that can talk to them about the little details and nuances of the game. I'm not saying these coaches don't know that. Please don't take that from that. One thing I do want you to, unless you hear me speak the words, don't take it as, oh, well, he's saying this and that. If I'm gonna say it, I'll say it. I think I've been good with doing that thus far. But what I mean is, like, city league coaches, for the most part, they're putting in their time. They're helping out. They're practicing. They're trying to find places to practice. So it's always scarce, and and then they're playing. But I do know there are certain very, very good high level organizations on the lower levels that do film sessions. There was this show once. I'll have to try to find the name of it, but it was like a little league football, and it was in Texas. This was some serious stuff. I mean, like they were like really, really serious, and they would play. And I think the winner of the organization, I think one year they got to go play in California in Snoop Dogg's little league football team. But anyway, this team, this coach had film study with these kids, and these are kids that they were either third, fourth, and fifth grade or somewhere in the area. One of those. They weren't too old, but they were doing film study. So if you can do film study in a smaller level league, then why not do it all across the board? I mean, you can. It's not hard to do. You film a game, and then the next time when you're supposed to practice, if you're practicing twice a week, you take 30 minutes out of one of those practice and you go over some film. Now you're educating your kids. There are high schools that have film study. Those coaches are usually, they fit it in. And sometimes it's because they understand that, look, we have to be able to prepare these kids because, some of these kids go play college. They're going to be like, huh? And I'll tell you, some kids that we've trained, we do, try to do film study, try to have them to send us film. We go over it. We try to show them the things that we saw, and, they get better from it. They kind of get a glimpse of it, and then they go to college and they have to sit in and do film study. And a lot of times they're like, they come back and say it's different. I mean, going over detail and understanding stuff, and we always say the film doesn't lie. That film don't lie. Yeah, you say you closing out hard on that 3-point shooter. Well, the film suggests otherwise. You say you're rotating correctly and you're getting there and keeping them from going baseline. Yeah, this film says something different. You sure you're boxing out the way you're supposed to? That film is not lying. So the film is a tool that coaches can use to reinforce things that they're telling them. Also, what it can do is it can actually silence people who always have questions about stuff. If that player is like, man, and why am I not playing? Or if a parent's like, well, why is my child not playing? And you tell them, well, every time we play a team that presses, your child freaks out and throws the ball, crazy, and it's always stolen. Your child's not ready for a press. And the teams we're playing are pressing. So if they're pressing, we can't put them in there. Oh, yeah, okay, all right, yeah. Well, you know what? What you need to do, coaches? Sit their ass down and pull up that film. You pull up that film and it supports what you're saying. It's going to reinforce what you're saying. Now, this is another different thing, and I'll have to try to revisit it. But the question now is, how do you fix it? I mean, because, if you don't have the tools to fix it, you have to send them somewhere, preferably to like a training agency like ours. And I'll say ours because I can't speak for everybody, other training agencies here and abroad. I can tell you one thing, we can fix all of that stuff. We can show them how to react. And the reason I know is because I have kids that were struggling with catching the ball and the kids were running at them to try to trap them and they didn't know what to do. Once I showed them 2 to 3 different ways to attack it, be it dribble through it or pass and cut, they didn't have problems with it. And then the parents would say, well, why is it that the coaches don't do that? And I was like, you have to ask the coach that. I mean, I have thoughts, but I don't know them well enough to make that determination. All I can do is tell you about what we do. Okay, so I feel that film study is really, really important. And if it's not something you've added to it, sit down, film the games because everybody's filming it. There's tons of film. Film the games in its entirety or film a quarter, film 10 minutes. And then sit down with the kids and go over it and watch, look, you catching the ball here and, you have to flash right here so they can make that pass to you. Okay. Or you're holding it too long. You either need to shoot it, you need to pass it, or you need to make a drive. You need to do something because you're keeping the ball too long. Once you're able to point those things out, now when you're showing them in practice, these kids kind of have an idea because they've seen it. They can visualize what they're doing wrong. And now they can possibly try to make those adjustments and improvements. So I really think if you're wanting these kids to be smarter, higher IQ, I really feel that, everybody, if you're having a team, no matter what, hey, if you got some 4 or 5-year-olds, maybe you can do a SpongeBob film session where SpongeBob is SquarePants is playing against I don't know any other characters, Dora the Explorer or something like that. You get it animated and then you have them playing a press or something. That, you know what? I might have to try to figure out how to do that. That's kind of cool, having animated characters doing film session, playing the game. That way you can see what they're doing. Maybe you could put Dora's face on the opposing team and SpongeBob's face on one team so the little kids will sit there and watch it. Hell, I come in and watch film session if that was there. Like, man, why is that little kid head so big? But in any case, yeah, you need to try to figure out something, and I think it will solve a lot of problems. This way, when the kids go from elementary city ball to travel ball or middle school, and then in the high school, they're better prepared, and they can bring that kind of stuff. Coach, let's look at some film. Can we break down film? Maybe if they're ones asking and they're doing it, maybe it starts to make the coaches say, you know what, I need to do film study, and it brings the level of play up within the players. Somebody has to do it. But it's up to you guys. I know we do certain things like that for our clients. So, hey, maybe I'll start a film session study or something and just open it up for people to come in and watch film study on a team. And maybe make sure it's not a local team. Maybe make sure it's something out of state, because I don't want somebody to come in and they made a mistake and they're feeling bad and embarrassed about it because we're doing it. But all in all, that's pretty much what I have to say on that subject. I do want to mention V-Dribble. Now, V-Dribble has a different name, and it's the wrong name. When kids come in and I ask them about the V-Dribble, they think it's the in and out. Okay, so what is a V-Dribble? V-Dribble is like a fake crossover. So if you're dribbling the ball in your right hand, and I'll just say if you're dribbling in your right hand, you bounce it midway between your feet as if you're crossing over. But once you make that bounce, you got the ball back to your right. So you go middle right and then back to your right side with your right. So it doesn't switch hands. It stays in the same hands. Okay. V-Dribble is a very, very important tool to have when you start to learn your basic dribbling moves. Now, we use it in different ways. I'm not gonna get into proprietary stuff. I'm not trying to do that here, but we do it in different ways using the V-Dribble. But the V-Dribble is very important. You have to have a V-Dribble because it's going to lead to bigger things. And like I said, all it is a fake crossover, I guess, if you want to look at it. So if you've done the crossover move on a person and you went by them, you come back and it looks like you're going to do a crossover again, they're probably going to be ready for it. So you have to make sure that you use the V-Dribble to fake them out. That way, once you fake them out, you can continue going to your right if you have it in your right, or you can use another move. Sometimes you use V-Dribbles with a combination, so it's a V-Dribble then a crossover or something like that, a V-Dribble between the legs. But you need to practice the V-Dribble on your right side. You need to practice it with your left. It's a very, very important dribble move that you can use. All right, so before I get out of here, I need to mention bonus content for my Patreon people. I'm going to discuss Luka versus Giannis. Yeah. Just so you know, I can pronounce his full name, Antetokounmpo. Yeah, Antetokounmpo. It took me a while, like 6 months, but I got it. But Luka played Giannis. Kemba Walker. I'll discuss that. He got picked up by a team. And the question I have is, why is it that some of the other ones are not? Because, some players again that can play are not, they're not like blacklisted, but they're not playing in the NBA. Some are moving and playing overseas. So I'll discuss that. Also, I'm going to talk about the pecking order of players. That is a very, that's a topic of discussion that's not really discussed as much. And I know it needs to be discussed, because once you hear what I'm saying, it's going to make so much sense. You have to have a pecking order of your players. I'll talk about step back jump shots, different ways to use it, how you should use it, when and why. I also got a few, I got a story. It's a drinking story. So you might want to come in and listen to that drinking story. Things that my parents used to say, growing up. And then I have an update on my top 5 criteria. I have pretty much finalized it, and I'm ready to pretty much bring it out. I should be having my first guest, next week. So hopefully it comes through. I have a lot of people lined up now. It's just about, getting times and stuff, making sure I can work with them and keeping them how do I say it, keeping it better, getting them better to where it's like, hey, I'm working around their schedule. That's what I was trying to say, working around their schedule. I almost sound like Chuck, Charles Barkley on Inside the NBA sometime, man. He be saying they told him to spell extremities, and when he spelled it was extra mites. He messed up the word. He always messing stuff up, man. If y'all don't look at that show, y'all need to watch that show. That show, just them guys talking. They sometimes argue, but Charles, like, he's not playing. He's what he is, right? But it makes you endear yourself to him because he's like, regular people. But yeah, if y'all get a chance, y'all need to watch Inside the NBA. I don't miss it. If it's coming on Tuesday, or if it's right now, it's on Tuesday nights. Hey, when I get home, people know, don't mess with me. I'm watching Chuck Nim. That's what I say. I'm watching Chuck Nim. So, all in all, I hope you enjoyed this. I think it was really informative with different stuff we talked about. So I'll end it with that. And as always, my motto is, if it was easy, everyone would be doing it. Out.